Hello and welcome to the first ever EXP Monthly. And the first game for EXP Monthly is going to be Shogo Mobile Armor Division. So this is for July of 2025. Now, Shogo Mobile Armor Division, I'm just going to refer to as Shogo moving forward. Released October of 1998. It was primarily a PC game. It released on Windows, Mac, Linux, and the Amiga system. It had later releases up until, I believe, the year 2000 when it was kind of ported to some of these other regions and operating systems. It is a first-person shooter, but it essentially has two different styles. You're playing sometimes on foot with your conventional like assault rifle, shotguns, and normal weapons a person would hold. But the other half of the game, you're piloting a variety of mechs, and you can choose which mech you take out in the missions. They have different attributes and play a little bit differently. And the game takes over about 7 to 10 hours. It is fully voiced. It does have two different endings. There is a branching path towards the end you can go. And I just find it a very intriguing game. Now, I wanted to cover this game for a couple reasons, and I'll get into that now. So, I have played and beat this game. It's been probably about 20 years since I last actually beat it. It's one of those games I never knew how I had. I always had a stack of like PC games that I never bought. I don't know how they ever came into my possession as a kid. I'm assuming a lot of it was through, I had older siblings where they got them or borrowed them and maybe forgot to ever give them back to friends. But this was one of those games, and we had, I grew up with a Windows 3.1 computer. We then got a Windows 98 computer and then a Windows XP computer. And I likely played this when we got that Windows XP computer. I kind of inherited the Windows 98 computer as my computer. It was like in my bedroom and stuff. And this is likely what I played that on probably around the year 2001, 2002. I don't remember specifically anymore, but one thing I do still recall playing this game was when I played it, it had been out a while, because I remember thinking the graphics were dated, because I would have been comparing this to games like Metal Gear Solid 2, like a lot of those early PlayStation, GameCube games. But I remember thinking, even at the time as like a preteen teenager, like, man, this game looked good for 1998. And it was fully voiced too. I thought that was impressive.
Patients on the various units. Good luck, Commander.
Sir, I presume Catherine is my primary contact for this mission?
You mean Lieutenant Commander Akaraju? Yes, she is.
That's what I meant to say, sir.
You're dismissed.
I'll see to that myself if I have to.
Do you have something you wish to share with me, Commander?
Yes, sir. You are my personal hero, sir.
Just being kind of enthralled in this game at the time I'd never heard of. It's one of those games, I'm sure people might refer to this as a hidden gem, because every time I bring this game up with at least all of my friends, whether they're real life friends or online friends, very few people seem to ever have heard of this game, or if they have heard of it, really haven't played it. So I played and beat it back then. Since then, I've never really went back to it. I picked it up on GOG, Good Old Gaming, GOG, years and years ago, and I've kicked it up every once in a while for nostalgia, but usually only played like the first couple levels, never got significantly into the game other than maybe like an hour. So I'm excited to jump back into the experience. I remember a lot of the broad narrative of the game, but I don't remember the specifics. I don't even remember how it actually ends. I remember there's two branching paths. Back in the day, I remember saving it because it's clear, like when you make a decision which side you're gonna go with. I remember making a save so I could go and experience both endings. And I do remember liking one ending way more than the other. So we'll see if that is true now. But yeah, I think this is a really fun game. The little bit I went back when I played through those first couple levels, I think it holds up. I do want to point out, and I have links and information on the website, expmonthly.com. There is a mod called Shogo Fix that does a few quality of life features, makes it run better in widescreen, fixes like the point of view that can get kind of jumbled up if you play in widescreen. There's also a mouse fix called DX Wrapper that you want to just extract in the root of the install of the game, because this doesn't happen every time I boot it up if I don't have that installed, but you'll have like the mouse constantly like flashing in and out on the screen. So if you have that happening, install that file that I have posted on the website, and that should resolve that. So I'm really interested to see not only if this game really holds up the way I remember it holding up. I remember being very impressed with it and thinking it was such a cool experience, but seeing how it holds up with other people. The final thing I think I want to touch on before we jump into this game is this game came out in October of 1998. Half-Life came out November of 1998. And Half-Life is often, and I think rightfully, credited with doing that immersive storytelling. Like, you didn't have like these cutscenes. Like, a lot of the storytelling was done through the game. Like, you seen stuff unfolding. The cutscenes were done like people are talking to you in game. It wasn't cutting to a full motion video or slides or something. And it gets a ton of credit for that, and it should. But going back, pay attention to some of the first couple missions in this game, and they had all that in this game. Again, this isn't any spoilers, but literally level 2, you're back like in your base, and you can walk up to doors, and people on the other side of the door, you'll get like messages from them, like saying they're sleeping or come back later. You can walk up to just NPCs, and they'll just say a line of dialogue. But there's also a point where they're told to go and check in with diagnostics to get up to speed. And that is literally walking up to like these computer terminals in the game, and they'll play audio and show like a little visual like in the game. And it is like a lot of that early immersive storytelling where they're really trying to build that immersion around the game. When you select a mech, it's like you're in the big hangar and you have to hit a button to deploy each mech one by one. And there's a computer that gives you information about the mech when it deploys. Then you have to walk around the hangar and actually like walk in and board it. You know, a lot of games before this, and even a lot of games now, a lot of that is just done through a menu. You just pick the mech, or there's some type of interface. You're not actually like pushing the button to deploy the mech and having to walk out and like walk into it and board it. And not to say that's always the best way to have games played, but I do think it's notable, especially for the time period this game came out in. So I'm interested to, as I play this, to see how much of that continues. So before going into this, I've been kind of cooking on doing this video game book club, essentially, the EXP monthly, for a long time. And I started to replay this game right at the end of April. Or I'm sorry, May. I started playing at the end of May. And I was like, you know what? Let's finally kick off this video game book club, and this will be the first game. So I played like the first like 3 missions. I probably got an hour into the game, stopped playing it. So I'm gonna start it over and play it again fresh when July hits and experience it for the first time really in probably about 20 years. Probably since about 2005 is probably the last time I would have went back and beat it. And one of the biggest things I'm going to be looking for is, does that like immersive storytelling and immersion continue throughout the game? Or is it kind of like, because especially I think during this time, you would have like these ambitious ideas. The first couple levels of a game, they would implement them, and then they'll kind of fade off because they can be a lot of work and real challenging to implement. So we'll see if that's the case here, or if they do a good job of all that staying relevant through the entire playthrough. Again, I'm Filbert. I hope everyone enjoys this July launch of EXP Monthly, and we'll be coming up with some future games to play. So keep an eye out on the Discord and the website for what games will be lined up in August, September, and October. Thank you, and get after it.